What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 22. Last time we did the Italian Grand Prix, and because of our straight line speed deficit, things were far from rosy. It was I believe it was P20 or 21 in the end in that race. But we're back, and we're going into the Singapore Grand Prix, and I have high hopes for this one. It's a very sort of I don't know, downforce driven track. You need a lot of cornering speed. Straight line speed isn't so much as important. Even the straights aren't particularly long on this level. What level? Race. Yeah, therefore corners are not, or they're the more sort of important thing to set your car up for. So I was just looking there at potential facility upgrades we can do, and I think I'm gonna get the simulator upgrade as soon as we have the cash to do so. Man, I'm still thinking about that level gaff. I think it's because I've been playing a lot of Ape Escape lately, which is another series that you should check out if you haven't been watching that already. Anyway, F1. So, we put a tyre wear upgrade on the car, the roll dampers, and then we go and purchase that facility upgrade in personnel. I think that the recent patch that the game came out with actually fixes this sort of facility thing. But that came out maybe an hour or two after I recorded this video, so yeah, they think it was still broken at the time, which I didn't know until after they announced that they'd fixed it. So it's not that big a deal though. We had some kind of marketing event there to do with merchandise. I think I spent more money to try and I was hoping it would boost like team acclaim or something like that. And now we're just going through seeing if there's any more upgrades we can do. There pretty much ain't by the looks of things, because we're already at capacity in all of our departments that we can afford upgrades in, and then Aero is not got any upgrades we can do currently. So that's pretty much it for what we can do before the race weekend. We've got another event here. Can we give Schwartzman the day off? I said yep, because I figure his awareness is more important than his racecraft. If he doesn't make overtakes, it's fine. If he crashes or DNFs, then that's a sponsor bonus that we're losing out on. So it's much more important now for the extra 100,000 that I get if Schwartzman finishes the race. So now we're getting into the Pirelli Hot Lap. It is an autocross event, and I won't show you it because it's just an autocross. It's not, you've seen these many times before, but I just about scraped through. It was actually very fun. I've been enjoying the autocross probably the most of all these events. I think the drift and like the time attacks and things aren't that fun, but the autocross is pretty cool. So now we're going to get into the race weekend proper, and the first session of that will be, of course, practice. But first we got to look through. We've got some developments on the car, and there is a regulation change has been announced. So yeah, we will be hoarding our resource points from this point forward in the hopes that we can get on top of the regulation change and adapt a number of the parts on our car. He said he thinks it's going to affect multiple departments. When he says multiple departments at the end of season 1, I really sincerely hope he just means durability and something else, in which case I'll mostly cover off whatever something else is in this scenario. But yeah, that is something that we've got to wrestle with. But if we can get on top of it, if it's, say, chassis and durability, we could be staring down the barrel of being a much better car at the start of next season. Now we're starting to get into practice, and I'm not going to show you anything from practice because there wasn't really anything particularly noteworthy. I think the only thing I would describe as even sort of remotely noteworthy was Lando Norris having a DNF. But you see, my tyre wear was very good, but my lap times were not good enough to pass this race strategy program.
Of our top three, who are Leclerc, Hamilton, and George Russell. And if today's practice is anything to go by, we're in for an exceptional weekend of Formula One.
So yeah, that was pretty good. Myself and Robert P15 and 16. A bit worried about the likes of Stroll and Albon being ahead of us at this moment in time, but you know, things can change in the blink of an eye. Obviously Norris with that DNF as well, but we'll see where things go in qualifying. First, we got these development boosts to put on the car. That's going to make some of these much cheaper than they've already been, and yeah, hopefully we'll with saving the resource points and kind of not developing the car any further from this point, we should find ourselves potentially with a lot more sort of like development boosts that will be done, and we can start putting on the car at the beginning of season 2. But obviously that's still a long way away. We've got 6 races to get through before that time, so this is what we should be focusing on. McLaren are now P3 in the standings. They started behind us at the end of the start of the season, and in 17 races they've managed to overtake Mercedes in terms of performance, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. Alfa Romeo are right in the mix as well, and then after that, people are a little bit slower. But yeah, it looks like we could have a sort of maybe a 4 or 5 way fight at the front with the cars that are fighting at the front. I went into the development menu briefly there, and then I remembered that we're not developing anything further until the regulation change gets announced. I imagine that will probably be announced at Suzuka, but I can't be certain about that. So now we're going to get into qualifying. I'll probably show you one full lap here, but we'll see. So this is the end of my first flying lap now, and as Max Verstappen set at 1:37.7, I was thinking to myself, wow, I am a long way off the pace at the moment. It was a 1:39.9 for me on my first time around, and then second time around we're up by sort of a tenth or so, but I take this corner much better, and so it's about 3 tenths up in the end. I think it's a 1:39.6, but definitely a lot of pace still to find in the car. You know, we just about crept through in P16, so that was all right. But yeah, we really. I don't think I set a particularly representative lap time of what I'm capable of doing, so I'm hoping in Q2 perhaps we can get in the mix, and maybe I can set a slightly more representative lap time, and I can out qualify Latifi definitely, and then also maybe Vettel and Albon and the people sort of around me in the performance standings. But that remains to be seen, of course. So here we are at the end of my first flying lap of Q2, and I'm actually on a used set at the moment here, and it's good enough for a 140.4. I know that set of tyres was sort of approaching a second slower than a new set, so I was thinking there's definitely potential for some gains here. And now we're going to watch my full second flying lap of Q2, and we'll see how much of a difference the tyres actually make. We're already a tenth up after the first few corners, so I was pretty optimistic about how this was going to go. I tagged the wall there, and that meant I was losing time all throughout the straight, which is pretty brutal. This was potentially a big source of time save that we're now not getting anymore. And I was weirdly surprised to find that, honestly, I wasn't finding that much more grip on these tyres versus the used set that I was on for my first flying lap. If you're wondering why I was using a used set, I kind of just wanted to set a banker time and not waste the tyres, because I thought Q3 was possible here. So I was thinking, well, if I take the tyres, the used tyres, then I'll have 2 sets of tyres for Q2, and then I can attack in Q2 as well, or Q3 rather. But obviously that didn't materialise, because I'm not improving anywhere near enough as I would want to be. So you look at where Zhou Guanyu is. I would need to be over a second ahead of my current time, and going through this section I'm only sort of 2-3 tenths up. I don't know why, but I was really struggling to even sort of keep pace with my time on the used tyres, so I'm not sure what that was about. But we come up to the line, and at the end of it all we're only about 5 tenths up, and it's good enough for a 1:39.9. I actually came out at a weird time in this session, so the session doesn't immediately end afterwards, but I don't have time just to get back into another run. And in the end, yeah, well, you can see we're going to either be P15 or P16, and it is P16 by about a second, no less. I don't even know if that time would have been good enough to get us out of Q1 if we'd have set that in Q1, but we set a faster time in Q1 than we did in Q2. So that was a bit annoying and a bit frustrating that our performance was kind of a bit lackluster in that department, but you know, it's alright. We'll see what we can do in the race. I'm sure, you know, this point in the season, this is the first race since what, like, I don't even remember, but maybe since Belgium, where I didn't actually have any penalties because we didn't have an unreliability failure in Monza compared to the 3 races before. Actually, yeah, maybe it was Hungary the last time I had a race where I didn't start with a penalty. So yeah, we've had 3 DNFs in our last 4 races, and the last race was the first time where that wasn't the case. So yeah, it would be nice to potentially make up some positions without any penalties. I think I do actually go through here before we get into the race and just check that nothing needed replacing. But I would have seen, because it would come up with the sort of the warning in when you're driving in qualifying and in practice. You see we're on our 5th MGUH already, and our gearbox is getting pretty worn, 46, CE's at 54, and then we got 49, 24, 20, 18 and 41. So a few things are getting a bit worn, and we're definitely going to take more penalties towards the end of the season, but for now we're alright.
Against the spectacular backdrop of the Singapore skyline, Formula One returns once again to do battle in what tends to become something of an endurance race, with the notorious sauna-like temperatures in the cockpit making for an extremely physically challenging race. It's a 3.1 mile lap here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit, with 47% taken at full throttle. It's hot, humid and bumpy around the 13 lefts and 10 rights of mostly slow corners, but we should see speeds of up to 200 miles per hour along the Raffles Boulevard. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Ricciardo, Bottas, Alex Albon and Hamilton. They've taken a grid penalty. Perez, Joe, Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Robinson, Magnussen, Lance Stroll and Vettel. Ocon, Latifi, Yuki Tsunoda. They've taken a grid penalty. And Pierre Gasly. Mick Schumacher, Norris, Leclerc and Robert Schwartzman. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, alright then. Let's get into this and see what we can do. I think yeah, I'm able to extend the first stint quite a lot by the looks of things, and in this overcut meta that could prove very powerful. So yeah, I think we went +3 in the end there. I've forgotten already. But we're starting in P11 as a result of penalties, but we do have some very fast drivers alongside where we are. So we will be very lucky to maintain P11, I reckon. But you know, we could challenge, but we'll see how we go. So we line up on the grid, and yeah, that was a bit weird, but I assume that can only be a glitch, because surely I can't have a DNF before the race even starts. I get a bit antsy there, because it looked like I was at 0.3, but for some reason the game was like, you failed. So I wasn't really sure what that was about. But yeah, the grid forms up with Schwartzman in last, and now here we go. The lights come on, and the lights go out. So here we go, and it's a very good start once again. We definitely get a better start than Sainz, but he's going to be on the soft, so he's definitely going to come back, and lo and behold, I let him out of my eyesight for 1 minute, and then all of a sudden he's ahead again. But we do manage to jump Alonso off the start, and perhaps we can get ahead of the likes of Joe and Sainz as well. So I don't know if you heard that in the background, but that's confirmation of what I can and can't say whilst I'm recording a video. Here we go alongside Kevin Magnussen now. He's kind of gone down the inside of us, but we managed to get him back momentarily. We also got caught by Alonso at some point, and now we find ourselves once again in P11. But you know, if there's damage up front or someone's going particularly slowly, then perhaps we can catch back up to a few of these cars. I think if I want to get into the points, I think Guan Yu Zhou is probably my best bet here, because Alonso will be too fast. But Zhou, it's no disrespect to him as a driver, but his stats are very low in the game, and so he's going to be a person who I'm going to be able to race with, hopefully. But keep in mind that Alfa Romeo is a lot faster than our car, and I think Valtteri Bottas is in like P4 or something like that at the moment, so it's going to be tough. But we managed to retain P11 all throughout that complex of the track, and now we'll see if we can catch up to the. Sorry, we're actually in P10. I don't remember getting ahead of Alonso, but I guess we did. I think it was at the hairpin before the straight, like as you come over the bridge. We'll see if we can challenge Joe as we start lap 2, and see if we can catch up to the back of him. But I'm not burning very much battery at the moment because I'm trying to hold on to it for when DRS is enabled, so we can potentially try and get past these guys. Alonso then re-overtakes me for now, but I think you know, if we can follow him through, then perhaps we can use him as our ticket to get past Joe, because I don't think I'd be able to keep Alonso behind, but I do think I'd be able to keep Joe behind. So we'll see how that goes. I'm using battery as we come down this next straight, and we're kind of not so much catching Alonso anymore, but we're kind of under pressure from Magnussen. Magnussen's only a few tenths behind, so I'm a bit concerned that he might try and size up and move at some point. But you know, hopefully we can do our best to keep him behind. He's only 2 tenths behind now. As he goes around our outside here, barges us off and then brakes way too late. So we managed to keep the position for now. But what he's really doing, this is what I really get frustrated with the AI in this game, is that they go for so many dodgy dive bombs that mean you kind of have to.
I'm gonna have to ask you to find a safe spot to retire. Sorry about that, mate. Again, find somewhere safe to stop. We need you to retire.
4 times in 5 races? 4 times in 5 races? Come on, surely even the game can see how ridiculous this is. I bet I hadn't even done 2 laps. What failed? If it was the MGUH again, I'm actually going to scream.
What a great race it's been then. Another classic Singapore Grand Prix. And they've held on to take the checkered flag here today. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. It just looks so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners.
Well, congratulations to Russell, Hamilton and Verstappen. They actually get to drive laps in this game. Honestly, I just want to play this game again, you know? Like, I barely get to play it anymore. I used to do these videos and the recording of them would take like, I don't know, an hour and 45, 2 hours. And at the moment, the average one I'm doing takes like an hour, and half of that is just me fucking around in practice, which I don't even show you guys. It's getting a bit frustrating. Maybe very frustrating. That's probably a
Let's see
better
how
way
the
of saying
driver
it.
standings have changed. Well, that lead at the top has somewhat shrunk today. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Natalie Pinkham. Come on, who do you pick?
Well, my driver of the day has to be Charles Leclerc. He was unstoppable out on track today, weaving through the competition with ease.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One, so be sure to join us for the next one.
I even checked the wear on my components and everything, and there was nothing, so I have no idea why. Alright, so we found the source of the failure. It's that there's a glitch in the game that means that player models and the background in this section will no longer load. I actually checked afterwards, and this was happening when I was on the F1 live screen as well, so I'm hoping that this is a one-off, and when I reopen the game everything will be fine, because I'd rather not play the rest of my series like this. But yeah, Codemasters please. So anyway, we do get a little bit of money out of that because we completed all the practice programs, but yeah, it's not a great weekend overall. But if you liked, then I don't know why you would, but please subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.